timer?
No. I'm just texting. I'm texting my mother.
Oh.
She was texting me. Testing our boss. I was texting the Godfather.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no. Don't you know who I'm talking about?
Key? Yes, of course. No, he is the goon, man. Dude, I think he does have organized crime ties. Any guy who looks like that, who's confident enough wearing that much gel.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck. We should be saving this for. Is it on?
It's on. It's going.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to the podcast, Alex.
Man. No, I was saying.
I like to do that. I've been doing that recently. I used to start and then say welcome, but I've been surprising my guests because it's just a natural flow.
It's the best way to just get ease into conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to.
Cheers. Without the logo.
Give the old game. Oh no! Did I just?
It doesn't matter that much.
Did I fuck up?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you don't need to do the game show intro with everything.
Yeah, welcome to the Puzhitsky podcast. Today's contestant, Alex Dewitt. He's a Toronto comedian and Keys Comedy Club legend.
I'm competing for 5 minutes of open mic time at a Korean barbecue.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. They say that once you walk in, you never really come out.
Is that because they're eating you?
No, at Keys.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking Korean barbecue.
Okay. Maybe they have Korean barbecue in there. Have you ever been to the basement?
No.
Yeah.
No, do they?
You've never been to the bathroom in the basement?
At Keys.
At Keys.
Yeah, okay. Let's just establish we're talking about Keys.
Get a little further from the mic.
Am I screwing up here? It's been a while since I've used this
do the Joe
this
Rogan,
type of microphone.
Do the Joe Rogan rule. One fist length.
Dude, man.
Fist length.
Yeah.
So you were telling me a little bit about hushing your P's, like the hard consonants.
Right.
Where did you learn that?
Where did I learn that? Well, no, I first heard about it because I went to the Humber School of Comedy, kids, when I was 18. It was 2009. That was quite a while ago. I'm quite old. I'm 32.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm a haggard old man in showbiz years. But I went to Humber, and I think second year we did a voice class with Robin Duke, who is SNL alumni, Second City alumni, SCTV. But she had been around, and we did something with her where we did a 2-week voice class, and she just taught us to speak into the microphone.
Okay,
yep.
Sick. Yeah, because that's why I have these little condom things on the mic, because it's supposed to, I think it's called a dampener. Yeah. So it's hard to put the k when you're talking. Oh, excuse me. When you're, the burps. There we go. It really dampens them.
That's pretty basic. You should have something like this.
Yeah, I tried the one that's over. It attaches to the mic arm and goes over like this and stops you from. But it's not as good. I like these ones a little bit more because sometimes when I'm doing YouTube videos, I just like to handle the mic. I almost feel like I should have just gotten a stand-up mic to do the podcast. You know what I mean?
I enjoy the handheld mic or a tripod, something like that, something that I can handle.
Were you?
I like a phallic object that I can just put in my.
You need a phallic object, ideally golden and glittery.
So, absolutely, from Claire's.
Yes.
Yeah, he gets all his stuff from Claire's or what's another place?
I don't know.
What's another place that he...
A music place?
Yeah.
2001 audio video, probably.
Yeah, no, likely. Yeah, they have the Armenian section where it's all just gold and glitter.
This guy drives to fucking Oshawa to the last open Blockbuster Video to buy microphones. He's like, "Excuse me, guys, do you sell microphone arms?"
You want to hear something really eerie? I drove by, not really eerie, but the other night I was doing Christmas shopping in Mississauga where I grew up.
Okay.
And I drove by an old outlet, a strip mall. Yeah. Which had the last Blockbuster in the area. That was the Blockbuster we used to go to as a kid.
They're
and
still
it's now
open.
a pet value.
Oh.
It's just, it's so eerie shit like that.
Yeah.
Because you can almost see the Blockbuster sign on some of them, still the imprint of the Blockbuster sign.
Oh, yeah.
And it's weird how
the
shit
faded
that
out,
changes.
the faded out silhouette of that beautiful logo. You were telling me that you collect physical media
all the time. Yeah,
that's sick. Well,
it's so weird because anytime I come over to somebody's home, my mind immediately goes to where's their movie collection.
Yes,
I'm a child. Yeah,
in my childhood home, I'm so glad I told my dad last week when I saw him over the holidays that I'm happy that he has a physical media collection. He has a bunch of CDs, DVDs, and now Blu-rays.
Right.
So I just, you actually inspired my Christmas gift or my New Year's gift for my dad because I'm Orthodox and we celebrate Christmas in January. All right, the real Christmas.
This is a rivalry. I don't know. Given the current times, I don't know if you want to exacerbate this rivalry between.
I posted a skit about it. It's
between
fine. It's
our
a joke.
Societies.
Like, I'm so religious that the last time I went to a church was probably like Easter 2008.
For sure.
It's not like I take it personally. I just find it funny. But anyways, you were telling me about your physical media collection.
Yeah.
And my dad has the same. So I decided I wanted to get him exactly what you said. I think it was Oppenheimer on Blu-ray.
Yeah, which I got. Yeah.
Yeah? So I went to Best Buy today.
Yeah.
And they didn't have it. So I just got him Avatar, the new Avatar.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but it's so weird to me because you can get all that stuff on Amazon. You're gonna have to pay for it. Like it's expensive, but I usually get my Blu-rays on Amazon. Very rarely will I go. Sometimes BMV, like Books Music Video, which is just around the corner over here. There's one here right by Absolute Comedy.
Yeah.
Which usually, if before I had a set at Absolute Comedy, I would snoop around BMV for a while.
Yeah.
But unless I'm at a BMV or I'm at another mom and pop place that sells records, Blu-rays, shit like that, I can't go anywhere but Amazon. Like it's all gone. Online.
Is BMV a chain or is it?
It's a chain. It's a Toronto chain. I've never seen one outside of Toronto City. Like not even in the GTA.
Because my girlfriend and I were just Christmas shopping. It was the first time I stepped foot in a BMV, and I was amazed because the books mostly the books, they're great quality and they are so much cheaper than like Indigo. Right across the street, there's an Indigo.
Right.
I just bought a few books for Christmas gifts. I bought like specifically a book called Meditations. It's like a small like philosophy book, and they were like the cheapest one I could find. Tiny little thing, like a pocket book, like $24 at Indigo. I go to BMV, first thing I see $5.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it, but it's all going away.
Yeah.
Even hard copy books, it's all going to be audiobooks. It's all going into the Matrix. It's all of that shit. It's just going online. But the thing about video stores in particular, or even it's so weird because even movie theaters, and this is, I still think people like going to the movies. They like that sort of cohesive experience of like getting together in a dark room and watching something with people. Like there's sort of
it's easier to spike someone's drink.
To it. Yeah. It's what?
What? Nothing.
Well, are we moving into
no.
edgelord territory already?
No, I'm sorry.
No, but people like that cohesive sort of thing of getting together with a group of people and experiencing something on screen. And I feel like in the next 20 years, it's going to be similar. Movie theaters are almost going to be what like drive-in theaters are going to be, or like video stores are going to be. The way it's like people are going to be like, like there's going to be a family moving into a home and the real estate agent's going to be like trying to sell the neighborhood like, hey, there's a movie theater down the road.
Yeah, true.
Like, what's really crazy about this neighborhood is that there's a movie theater. There's a Cineplex.
You know what though? I feel like I haven't seen as many movie theaters close down as I expected after COVID. I feel like they've bounced back pretty well. And even myself as a consumer, I found that I'm more willing to go to a movie theater, having lost that for those few years,
I think the pandemic, did something to people in general where they want to go out. The same thing with comedy clubs, right? Mm-hmm. That's why people are fucking aching. Take a look at a lot of our peers, a lot of the comics who put on shows. They'd be like in their landlord's tomato garden outside in the back of their building, right?
Yeah.
And they would have a show out there, right? And people flocked to it. They sold tickets for people to come to these shows because people wanted that immersive experience of being in a group of people and just enjoying something and being around fucking people, right? Whereas I think beforehand, people took that for granted, right? They didn't really, you don't know what you got until it's gone, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of that idea, I think, with it.
Yeah, but I don't think especially myself, I've been enjoying these, like some of the Cineplexes have these like VIP theaters.
Right.
Where there's like a reclining seat. It's nice and comfortable. Yeah. Love those. There's one right here. Not every Cineplex has them.
Yeah, you can get like a pizza served to you for $800.
Yeah, it's expensive, but honestly...
I've done it a couple times, yeah.
Yeah, the drinks, everything dude, movie theater prices are ridiculous. I'll pay, but like I really wanted popcorn the other day and like the bag of popcorn. I forgot how expensive it was. I got popcorn and like a drink, and it cost me like $30.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. But I hopefully they're not going away. But what do you think about the whole? So as I was like the physical media, do you think that like you have a collection of Blu-rays, for example, right? Like literally my Blu-ray player at my house, because I don't even have one here in my apartment at my parents' house, just broke down, right? I don't know how easy those will be able to get your hands on. So if you have a collection of physical media, you also have to collect the device on which you can, watch it.
Yeah,
right?
you know guys like Kevork?
Yeah.
Yeah, you go to a guy who looks like him, he probably has one.
Yeah,
in the back
he's got
of a
some
van.
of those car radios that people used to steal.
Yeah, he just drives around the country in a giant RV selling bootleg Blu-ray players for people like us.
Yeah,
who are worried about ours being broken.
Yeah,
you go to anybody who looks like Key. Yeah, or you know what? You just go to Key.
That's true. So, what?
I don't know what. I don't know. To answer your question seriously, I have no clue.
Yeah,
it's probably like everything else. You're going to be able to get it all on Amazon. You can get VCRs and shit. Probably not on Amazon, but you can.
Can you still get a VCR?
That's you can get some weird. Yeah, look it up. Actually,
let me look it up. Pull it up, Jamie.
Dude.
Oh yeah, do your Jordan Peterson impression.
My Jordan Peterson.
The thing about Blu-rays. The thing about Blu-rays is you don't want to go blue because those are the cuck libs.
He doesn't really say that, but those are
basically in a very you want to go
red.
Way.
What happened to Red Ray? What happened to Red?
He's actually not that like cut and dry like liberal conservative.
VCR for sale. Yeah, you can still get it. $60. JVC HR A591U.
It better just be $60. Like enough of that bull. And probably with delivery, of course. It's like
Amazon, brand new, multi-region DVD player for TV with HD. So this is DVD. Yeah, you can still buy new DVD players.
It's probably coming from like Turkey or someplace where they got to like ship it over. Like because I don't know anybody who has it in stock now.
Well, the question is, are they still producing them? Right?
You're just getting the ones that are coming like that
in some storage facility.
Yeah, people sell them. People sell used stuff all the time. So it's going to be weird because I'm hearing, and I haven't even tested this, but my family we have old VHS tapes, like old Disney tapes. My mom has them just in the basement. I don't know what we're going to do with them. Apparently, those are worth like big time dollars. Yeah,
I had a Game Boy when I was little that I sold like. I had it. I got the new like Nintendo DS, and my mom's like, "Give it to your cousin or whatever." Yeah, I regret that. I still remember like the weather of that day, where we were, and how the conversation went. Because I regret that day. I don't think I have a bigger regret in my life. I had this like the flippable Game Boy, with Donkey Kong, Mario versus Donkey Kong. Right now, if I want to buy one of those, they cost like $400. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I regret that so much, but it's the way it is.
There's a 37-year-old somewhere in their basement just with a Charizard t-shirt who just heard you say that, and they're coming in their pants. Yeah.
He's like, it's mine. It's probably in their drawer right next to their stash.
They're probably grabbing whatever lightsaber they have in their closet, and they're like, hey, I'm going to contact Puzhitsky. Give me that fucking guy's address. Give me your cousin's address. Was it your cousin?
It was my cousin.
It's weird. I have a few things like that. Like I take a look at old Pokemon cards that I have in my and again, like my family, we had a huge garage sale. My parents had a huge garage sale at their house, so they called me and my sister over. My youngest sister's still living over there, but we had a whole basement day downstairs where we just took shit out of the storage room and like stuff that we pile, we compact it in there. You can barely move. But we were clearing out the storage room, and I had Pokemon cards from 1999. I'm looking through them. I was 8 years old collecting these things, and I'm like, there's part of me that doesn't. I don't want to sell them because it is me like a piece of. This is where I get sentimental about I make fun of nostalgia a lot, but I'm like, this is a piece of my childhood that I loved that I'm just giving away. I don't want to do that. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm not just going to sell it to make money, but I could potentially make thousands of dollars off of that.
Yeah, some of these Pokemon cards. I just saw, what was it? Like Post Malone bought, it's like a board game. He bought a card from some dude. Malone. Yeah, Post Malone. He bought some Toronto guy. There's like a vending machine at some video game store. I think it's like Dungeons and Dragons. So he bought like it was a vending machine where you can just like luck of the draw, you know, you have those like rare FIFA packs or whatever. So he put $2 in, got a Dungeons and Dragons card pack.
Right.
And it happened to be like the rarest card in the game. And he sold it to Post Malone for like something like $4 or $5 million. But like, it's like north of $1 million.
Yeah. It's just, you know what? I'm at that, but I wish I did have an interest that went that deep, like something like that nerdy interest. But I just don't. I left that part of.
Yeah.
And it's cool if other people like it. There's some people who are far too obsessed with it to the point where I'm like, dude, like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. It's like all these guys that come to Comic-Con to see William Shatner, and he's just there like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what do you, come on, you're 49. You know, you should have had kids. You should have, like, something else. You got to move on a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't have that. I don't have that will in me anymore to collect all of like Simpsons memorabilia.
Yeah,
you know?
That's fair. Do you play video games at all or no?
I don't. That was what I was going to mention there. I don't anymore. There's part of me that wants to, but I have that personality where if I like something, and I'm in the right space right now with creating content and doing my impressions and shit like that, things that I think are productive and useful, I want to focus more of my time on that and my obsession on that and stand up rather than playing Red Dead Redemption 7.
Absolutely.
You know, like it's just not. Are you a game guy?
I had the same thing when I was like not even in high school. I would say more like, you know, grade 7, 8, 9 maybe, and then it kind of stopped. But like I was obsessed with like Call of Duty, Red Dead Redemption, Assassin's Creed, Assassin's Creed, stuff like that. I would love. And then there came a point where, you know, I started developing other interests like sports and stuff, and then it was like, because it's a huge time sink. And honestly, sometimes like that, you know, grade 5 kid in me looks at, I was just at Best Buy today and I was looking at these like new video games and I'm like, damn, that would be fun.
I'm seeing, you know what? Every now and then there's one, like I'll see like this new Jurassic Park game that's coming out. Dude, I almost feel the narcissist in me is saying like, they made that fucking game for me.
Yeah.
To tempt me. Like that game is calling me. So so it takes place, you know, because every game now has a story and a plot.
Yeah.
It's like these are modern movies. Like these will turn into like, this is again sort of the fusion of movies and like where video games come into like almost like VR type shit. Where so it's Jurassic Park, but it takes place the events right after the first movie. Okay. Where they've left some chick on the island that they didn't mention in the movie, but she's been left behind. She's like a doctor or something, and she's got to jump around and figure out and like, you know, run away from raptors. And there's the T-Rex, and then there's the big thing that shoots the ink, and
that's cool.
The Dilophosaurus. I don't know why I played dumb there. But I do remember that movie quite well.
The GTA 6 trailer just came out, and that's something that
another
I'm
one.
Yeah.
They're going to have more, man, that are going to get me. I think there's a Lord of the Rings thing in development.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Yeah, a new one. Because those games were the shit back in the day. I've just
been, like, for the past few nights, I just started watching The Sopranos.
Right.
So that is what I chose over Lord of the Rings. Because
you never saw Lord of the Rings?
I've seen it multiple times. Yeah. But it's been, like, 3 years. So I like, that's something I enjoy so much that I'll watch it over again every few years.
And you haven't seen Sopranos?
Ooh, dude. Started it yesterday. I'm like 7 episodes deep
You're in for a fucking ride, bro.
I'm excited.
Greatest TV show of all time. Breaking Bad's up there, but Sopranos, like...
Yeah.
Sopranos, like nothing beats Sopranos, man. It's just so funny.
Yo, I'm already like walking around. I catch myself like talking to the cashier in like a Italian accent. I'm like, what's going on, yo? What you doing?
Take it easy. Illness, but that's where we won't.
Okay, fair. Sorry. But dude, the accent is so sick. Gabagool.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, gabagool. Hey.
Yeah. The way they say random shit like nursing home, they're like nursing home. Fucking amazing.
The nursing. Yeah, I never worked on my Sopranos.
I just love the way and the way they like throw in little Italian words there. Oh, so good.
They're so cool. Yeah. I love the Sopranos. Also, I've seen the show. I don't even know how, like that and Breaking Bad. I don't even know how many times I've watched it.
Have you seen Better Call Saul?
Of course.
Yeah.
Better Call Saul, I almost rank above Breaking Bad at this point.
Very good point.
And they're both equally. Breaking Bad is like the best TV show ever. It's like neck and neck with Sopranos, but Better Call Saul is, I think, a little deeper and it's a little more grounded in
reality.
A little bit. Better like Breaking Bad, as much as this will anger people, I think is a little cartoonish. It's a little much like little. It's a little contrived in that way of like, oh, he's a meth dealer and his brother-in-law happens to be in the DEA. It's like that's made. It's like, oh, it's an interesting show. You know what I mean?
I love how in an age of shitty spin-offs, prequels, sequels, everything like that, we have Better Call Saul, where it's a spin-off and kind of a prequel of an amazing show that stays true to the show. Because what is Breaking Bad? It's a character study, right? What is Better Call Saul? Also a character study. Almost just as good. Of like, you know, Saul Goodman, he's a big character, but like not, you know, there's Jesse they could have done, which they have the El Camino movie, right?
Which was good. Yeah. I liked it.
But anyways, the way they did it, it is, like I said, when I am recommending shows to people that in like so many people haven't seen Better Call Saul, and I'm like, oh no, he's in the shot. He's in the shot.
Oh no.
Yes.
You are a witch. That is a witch.
So many people have seen Breaking Bad that haven't seen Better Call Saul because they automatically assume that a spinoff just won't be good. And honestly, fair play, because
that was the problem I think it had at the beginning.
Yeah.
Everybody thought it was going to be shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just so good. Like I can't even like I'm just so impressed. And
it's a little deeper, and it's a little, in terms of the detail of those characters, it's like none of them are overdone. Like there's not every character, and again, these were great characters and they were fun, but not every character in Better Call Saul is a Tuco Salamanca, where he's just this, you know, they had to have the angry Mexican drug dealer who was in the desert firing off an AR-15 and like, oh, you want to take, you know, doing meth off a fucking knife. It just, that's fun and it's a good character, but it was, you know, every season had that psychopath that was you know, that was lurking, and they were building up to be the next villain of the next season. And one of my great goofs on that show, one of the great questions, and I honestly do think as a whole, unless somebody wants to argue with me or correct me, but how the DEA didn't question the fact that Gus Fring, the proprietor of a chicken restaurant, was donating money, coming to their Christmas parties, literally almost like latching onto them by arm, everywhere they went. How none of them went, hey, you know, we got the fire department guy at the party, he's donating. We got Dave Matthews over here, he's from the police department, and you know, we got the EMT workers and the guys from the hospital. And hey, has anybody met the
chicken guy?
Does anybody know where this chicken guy's coming from? Anybody know, what is he, family, maybe a husband of some, like what, why is he here all the time?
That's true.
What's he doing? Who is this man? Who is this man? Why is he looking at me like that? Why does he not smile? Why does he never smile?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I thought you were going down a route of like, how does the chicken guy have enough money to donate? But he's, you know, he owns a franchise. Well, but it has no correlation whatsoever to all of these, like... Yeah.
They also do touch on that he has, obviously, because he's a genius, right? He's a sociopath genius. He has his money invested in, like, he donates to a hospital, and he does, like, you know, that's why I think he offers to get Hank, like, again, he's like, oh, I run this hospital, I can call in favors, or whatever, when Hank gets shot.
Yeah.
That's like a big one, but it's just the idea, it's just placed too perfectly, where it's like the idea, again, like DEA guys, their intelligence, they work with intelligence, like they would know to vet.
They would smell it out right away.
And there's also, it leads me to the idea that they would probably at some point smell, you know, Walter White is a chemistry teacher.
Yes.
At a high school where chemistry equipment went missing.
Yeah.
And they just go for, okay, the janitor guy.
Yeah.
The guy who just works in the closet somewhere, because he had a prior, because he sold weed or something like that. They found a joint in his car, and they're like, oh, okay, case closed. Must have been him.
Meth.
By the way, that guy probably went to jail for about 30 years. That's
hilarious.
New Mexico, dude. They don't fuck around.
Yeah.
Those are good old boys.
Yeah.
Those guys wear cowboy hats to sleep.
That's true. You know, that you're talking about Breaking Bad right now is bringing me back to all of that. The first time I ever watched Breaking Bad was in, I think, end of grade 11, right when you were like supposed to start making like university choices of where you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
And I ended up going into chemistry.
Right.
And thinking back at it, like some things are clicking right now. I don't doubt for a second that Breaking Bad, the series, had a huge role in my decision of going into chemistry in university.
There's movies that do that. Yeah, for sure. Like The Social Network, when that came out, everybody wanted to do a startup.
That's true.
Like startup companies, this is a fact, went up after that movie came out.
Yeah.
Because everyone wanted to be Zuckerberg.
So I'm around like Breaking Bad, 100%, my favorite series of all time.
Mine too. I would say mine too.
Yeah.
The Sopranos I would have to honestly really kind of pick apart and it's splitting hairs really at that point for me.
And for me, not only because it's such a good series, but on a personal level, because I have an undergrad and a master's degree in chemistry, in organic chemistry, exactly what Walter White was teaching.
And you're addicted to meth.
There's that too. That's but we'll keep that under wraps. No, but I actually, thinking about it now, like that probably, I just think of it as a TV show that I love and had a great impact on me just because it's a good, and I learned about character development and all this stuff, be a good person, don't be a villain. But I just this August finished my master's in synthetic organic chemistry. So that show I watched in grade 11 has probably led me down the path that I just finished fucking a month ago, which is an interesting thought. Sure. But
no, Breaking Bad ultimately is a brilliant show. Like we're goofing on it a little bit because I'm such a fan of the show. I feel like I can pick it apart.
Yeah.
The way, because I've watched it so many times. I've invested so many hours into this fucking show and reading different essays and like I've gone down that rabbit hole of just like anything I love, I'll read an essay on like, what does it mean? What is the fucking, what is the purple balloon in the corner of the, like, what does that mean? Fair. All of that stuff. I mean, it is truly like one of the more powerful shows. Like finally at the end when he fesses up to his wife and says like, look, I said over and over again that I was doing this for all of you guys. I did it for me. I did it just for me.
Yeah.
It was for my set. And you feel for him. Like you do have fantasies of like getting into that, most of us wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with any of those movies. Like, my favorite movie of all time is Goodfellas, right? Yeah. Goodfellas is a movie about a normal, seemingly regular neighborhood kid who has this fascination with the mafia, wants to be part of a family. And
don't spoil it for me, by the way, whatever you're about to say.
Oh, no, I'm not. Okay, but that's the part, that's the movie. You got to see. Hang on. Fuck. I couldn't even process that. You haven't seen Goodfellas.
Dude. Oh, sorry. Goodfellas. I thought you were talking about Sopranos. Goodfellas I have seen,
No, Goodfellas. No, he wants to be part of I was about to say. I was like, well, it's been fun.
Yeah,
this
I gotta go.
I do have to go. I'm going to take the Creamore as a traveler. But, no, it's we all fantasize about that world.
Yes.
Right? Of like what's on that side. And I've known people throughout my life who have delved into that side, and it's not great for them.
For sure. And the best thing about Breaking Bad is like, how many seasons is it? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Breaking Bad is 6 seasons. No, is it 6? Might be 5.
Okay, well,
the fifth one is split into it's 5 seasons split into 2 parts. So they do that bullshit of like it's basically 6 seasons.
So we have here the character development of a dude that goes from like innocent high school teacher to drug kingpin over the span of hours and hours of storytelling, right? So you have the time to kind of track every single little decision that leads him down that path, and that's where the empathy comes along. That actually, I was just thinking about it, and it brought me back to this quote. I told you I bought this philosophy book. It's when I read shit, I listen to stuff. We were talking about physical versus. I've been listening so much. I actually have become a little paranoid recently because when I read a book, I'm so fucking ADHD that my mind goes everywhere.
Right.
I almost ingest information better listening now.
Yes.
I feel like, the modern times have trained my brain to do so. That's another conversation. But the point being that when you said Walter White at the end said like, I was doing this all for myself, and we feel for him because we saw how each and every single one of those decisions led him to this ultimate like A to B, this drastic change. Right. But every single one of those little decisions are justified in that you're like, okay, I might have done that too, right?
Right.
So Marcus Aurelius says like the nature,
pulling out the MA.
Yeah, baby.
Marcus Aurelius.
He says, the nature of the offender himself is akin to my own. Not a kinship of blood, but a sharing of the same mind, a fragment of the same divinity. Therefore, I cannot be harmed by any of them, as none can infect me with their wrong. So he's saying here, you can't truly judge somebody that has done a horrible thing, because we're both flesh and blood.
Right.
There's nothing that people can't infect you with, their negative vibes or whatever, like toxic people. No, you have you're built out of the same things. It's already in you. It's up to you to make the decisions to stay away from the wolf inside of you. But at the end of the day, we're the same.
So what you're saying is I should commit a home invasion now. And hey,
no, what I'm saying
this is just me. This is you can't violate me. This is my personal.
What I'm saying is that if you did, I wouldn't judge you.
Exactly. No, you shouldn't judge me. I'd still invite you
back in here and let you
shouldn't judge me. No, never let a narcissist. You know what? Cut this all out, because you may have like super narcissists listening to the show. And they will go, yeah, you really did not need to evoke the ancient Romans.
They're going to start like a fucking toenail clip collection of their victims.
Though. Yes, they will.
That really clicked because because it's a slow, it's not just, that's what the beauty of both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul is. Because these are two people that everybody, like if you just printed a resume of all the bad shit they've done and you gave it to anybody with no context, they'd be like, shitty person, jail, fucking death row. Yeah. But you see how life and little decisions led them down that path, and that's the difference.
Yeah,
right?
Well, that's what great art does. That's what art is supposed to do, right? Mm-hmm, that's what you are supposed to empathize and understand, come out with an understanding of why terrible people do what they do, right? They create complex characters.
Yes.
Right? So, take a look at, this is a basic one for people. I mean, most of us have seen Pulp Fiction. So Samuel L. Jackson's character at the he's a cold-blooded murderer, right? He's capping motherfuckers left and right. He's shooting people, got the crazy afro, and he's real 70s.
I love that with the Bills hat, capping motherfuckers left and right.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm going back to my hip-hop days. Don't tell.
Oh, we'll get into that.
Sure. But, he's this guy, cold-blooded murderer, right? If you were to see this guy on the street, or to hear about this guy in real life, yeah, he's a bad guy, should be in jail. But listening to him throughout the movie, you get an insight into, at the end, when he's saying he's in the diner, he's going, I'm thinking of leaving this life. I think I'm done, right?
Yeah.
I've done my time, and it's not for me. And that guy shooting at us and missing, I think that was a sign from up above saying, get out of this, right?
Yeah.
Change your path. And he wants to do that. So you empathize a little more with him. Is he a good guy? No. But you understand it's a complex, interesting character, and you kind of go away liking him a little bit, which is different from real life, because you would not like him in real life.
And I think,
No, but what I'm saying is you're seeing less of that in movies now.
Yeah.
Right? You're seeing more, every movie, the writers and directors, they want to be moralists, right?
Yeah.
So every main character of a film has to be morally infallible. They can't make a mistake. They can't have a flaw. They can't have anything. And it's like, well, why the fuck am I watching it? These aren't interesting people.
I think you're seeing less of that in life in general, because of like everything is polarized nowadays. Right. It's going back to that. Personally, I found that as I'm, not that I'm, old and wise or anything, but as I've grown up, right, like from high school to university to like real life, like what I've learned more is that nothing is black and white, right?
Nothing is. There's nuance to everything.
Right?
Yeah.
The most clear I've ever thought in my mind was probably when I was like 20 years old in first year university. I'm like, I know what's right. I know what's wrong. I can go on a podcast right now and fucking like spit some knowledge, you know what I mean?
Right.
But as you grow up, you realize that's all bullshit, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Like nobody's, nobody is as perspicacious as a fucking 20-year-old. It's just, that's the way it is. Yeah, that's a big word. I'm sorry. Perspicacious means, I know what Like, I like that word, though. I like that I just pulled it out.
I do, too. Now I feel like for the rest of it, I'm just going to be we're going to be one-upping each other because I pull out a pretentious word every now and then. I'm not calling you, but that was a big one. That was a doozy.
Yeah. Don't be pedantic.
That was the atom bomb of
vocabulary, bro.
But I felt the same way, and that's the problem. Is like there's varying degrees of good and bad, right? So there's people who've done bad things that are whatever, you learn from them, and there's people who've done really bad things.
Yeah.
Right. So there's degrees to it. But yeah, like over time, like I do feel there's certain situations where you got to pick a side, but it's pretty common to have mixed feelings about something or someone.
Yeah.
Right. It's all perspective, a lot of it too.
So we've talked about shows, you know, Sopranos, Breaking Bad. Now let's move to movies. What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? I said Goodfellas. Goodfellas would be a top 5. It'd be probably top. It's you know what? It's up in the air between Jaws and Goodfellas. The way I had Breaking Bad, Sopranos, it's Jaws and Goodfellas.
Let's talk about Jaws specifically because we've had this conversation before behind the scenes. With you're a cinephile. You love the movies and you love, like you said, reading essays about the meaning about everything, right? So Jaws isn't something that would strike me as the first answer I'd expect from you. Why Jaws?
Well, number one, dude, it's so fun. I mean, I heard someone, Joe List, who's a very popular New York comic who I've met and I've spoken to, and he's great, but he has a movie podcast himself, and he talked about, he said, ultimately, you can make a movie as good as Jaws. Mm-hmm. You can never make a movie better than Jaws.
Okay.
You can never make a movie better than Jaws, right? You can't make one that's like even... I mean, there's very few movies that are even close to being as good as Jaws, right? Like it's just, it's a movie. The characters are perfect. It's that perfect balance of horror, comedy, because it's very funny. Mm-hmm. It's funnier. You can put it against a lot of comedies, straight comedies, and it would be funnier, right? Drama. The character development is great. It's ultimately a character study, right? It was a movie that they didn't expect it to be as huge as it was. It was the first blockbuster, right?
Right.
So Spielberg
what year is
made
it?
1975.
75.
Yes.
Holy shit. Okay.
Almost 50 years old.
That's crazy. Yeah. I thought in my head I pegged it as like something like 80s or something.
No, 1975. It came out summertime. My dad said he saw it in theaters, I want to say 7 times.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a blockbuster. People were lined up. It busted block. Like people were lined up around the block. Mm-hmm. So my dad said there were people lined up outside of the subway station because he grew up in central Etobicoke. So they had the Kingsway Theater, which has been around for decades.
Yeah.
And the Kingsway Theater, it's right next to Royal York subway station. So there were people almost lined up outside of the subway station to get it. Yeah, and then going across the street because everybody was trying to get tickets.
That's crazy.
Right. So it was, and then, I mean, the same thing, like my dad saw, just to, veer away from Jaws for a sec, that theater, I mean, my dad in the 70s, he saw Jaws, there was The Exorcist, there was the first Star Wars, there was Apocalypse Now, there was, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was just in that theater last week, and you do get that feeling of, like, I almost got emotional being in there, because I'm like, fuck, like, this is like, this mom and pop place, this can't go away. And like to what we were talking about recently, I'm like, fuck, like the idea that something like this
might go away
is at risk of sort of like it'll dissipate, like it'll all kind of go away at some point is is heartbreaking.
A lot of things like that are going away. Like there used to be this like the department store, like Honest Ed's, like Toronto Landmark, stuff like that. Tearing it down for some, nice condominium but overpriced, right? Like they're selling it for like they're building homes that 1% of the population can afford, and then the rest of us are anyways, we're not going to get into infrastructure right now, but
shit, man. I wanted to talk about condominiums. Let's get into the real estate market.
That's true. From Jaws to condominiums.
No, but to talk about, I feel like I answered the question. Like Jaws is just the perfect blend of all those things, and you will never see a movie like that ever again. And I think the reason it's had the longevity it's had is because people feel that way. It's that just that perfect, almost psychological. Like it just satiates you. On every level. Like just mentally, it's like it works. It functions as a comedy, functions as a horror, functions as a drama. And again, like we're talking about difficult characters. The main character of that movie let a fucking child get eaten within the first 15 minutes, and he's got to grapple with that the entire movie. What other movie now do you like mainstream blockbuster? You didn't get that in the fucking Barbie movie.
I was literally just about to bring up the Barbie movie.
She didn't let toddler Barbie get eaten by shark Barbie.
I was gonna say that left me pretty satiated, when I was walking out of the theater.
So I said satiated there.
Yeah,
perspicated. Satiated.
Satiated is pretty. Come on, like that's.
Well, I'm trying here, dude.
Okay, but yeah, I didn't watch the Barber movie. I did see Oppenheimer, and again, bringing it back to Breaking Bad, chemistry, my background of like, I also love film. Not to your level though. I always like it. Like I enjoy. Actually, I never actually talked to you about film specifically. We've never had a conversation. Right. However, I'm always around in the green room when you're arguing with like.
Oh, I will literally. Yeah, I had almost like a yelling match with Rob Mayu about a month ago. It was funny. Like it was a friendly Matt, but like we were drinking and he was talking about Florida Project.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like the movie. He called it poverty porn. And I'm like, it's not poverty porn. How dare you?
I was in the room for that conversation and I was enjoying it just like a podcast. I was just watching you guys go back and forth and taking notes. I remember at one point you guys were arguing and I'm just like, I like Spider-Man.
Hang on, who? Me and who?
You and Rob.
Was it Rob Mayu?
Yeah.
Were you in the apartment for that?
I was in the apartment.
Oh, that's so funny.
See, you were so locked into the conversation.
I was so drunk that I forgot who was in the room.
Yeah, I was there.
No, it was like a friendly whatever, but he set me, at one point he kept talking over me, so I was like, get the fuck. No, I love Rob, but that was just
so
that was
what I'm saying is that I know of your love for film and you're actually your depth of knowledge because of, not because we've directly talked about it, maybe we have, but mostly because I've listened to you argue with other comics about it, and much like you'd listen to a podcast, you kind of digest the arguments that both parties are making, and I feel like you always make valid, logical points that are easy to follow. You know what? It's hard. Most people don't know how to speak these days. It's very hard to find somebody that can get their point across easily. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I think it didn't come easily with me. I grew up, and again, my parents are good people, but I grew up arguing with my mom and dad. My parents had a point. My dad had a staunch opinion about something. And mind you, there's times you don't argue with your parent, but, if it was over, his opinion on something, I had to get my point. So in order for me to I had to speak up and say, no, this, I feel I like this. So me and my dad, we argue the same thing about movies, about sports, about TV, about everything, right? So just when it comes to that, there's stuff I wouldn't be yelling at my dad or anything like that, because that would be bad news. But it would same thing with my mom. But you would have to. They love to argue a point. So I started doing the same thing from a very early age. Same thing with my sisters. Mm-hmm. And then friends of mine growing up.
Yeah.
So it's just constantly, if you had an opinion on something, you had to make sure that you had all your points down, flat like a deck of cards almost, right?
See, I was an only child and my parents grew up in the Soviet Union, so I can't argue with my brothers or sisters. And if I argue with my parents, I don't exactly get words back, more physical objects thrown in my way. But so I never had that, but
yes, they bring you to Siberia. No, they just send you outside in the cold.
Yeah. They send you to Siberia and be like,
they fly you to Siberia and you fend for yourself.
Yes, and they're like, this is what I had to deal with. Those stories of when I was a kid, I had to walk through 5 miles of snow, fight off wolves to get to school. Yeah, but no, that's cool. So I appreciate when I'm listening to you talk to other comics in the green room. I was I picked up on the fact that you're very keen with the filmmaking side of it. Yeah. And so were you? But so you did Humber for comedy specifically. Did you ever receive any kind of education with film or anything like that, or are you just a fan?
There was a film. There was a screenwriting course that you did on the side at the Humber Comedy School.
Yeah.
At when I was 19.
Yeah.
It's the second year, so I did screenwriting. And then you did little exercises on the side where you got to work with a camera and do little shorts. And I have a short that's I still have on my computer that we did with a few people. It was an assignment that we filmed out of my kitchen. And then this was 2011 at this point. This is a different universe ago. But then I went back to do my post-grad, 2017, Humber again. This time was TV writing and production. So we did short films again and learned to work with cameras. And then that sort of translated into me wanting to do my own short films and stuff. And I always had a camera as a kid and doing all that shit. And it was fun, right?
Yeah.
And that was part of my love for... So I'm taking it more serious now. I have an idea for a couple features that are... At this point, that's a thing that's down the road. I got to save money. But I got some ideas of just stuff that I want to do. But I got one in particular idea. That,
I'm just more getting into it as and it came from, again, my only education is in fucking chemistry, right? Comedy and skits and everything that I'm doing, that was all just a hobby that turned into something more.
Sure.
And I feel like I'm learning as I go. And most recently, I just the last skit I did with Brobo, the Batman skit.
Right.
I'm really proud of that one because of the way I wrote the script and I thought about the angles and stuff.
Yeah.
So I see myself kind of getting better just as by doing it, and putting it out there, right?
Yeah.
I do want to like take some acting classes, and maybe even like there's some stuff on YouTube about film and stuff.
Right.
But like I feel like in general these days there's so much available on the internet. If I want to learn about anything, right? It's just discipline. If you want to, it's out there. The information is out there.
Interesting. So. Yeah, I mean, it's over time you realize you just have to do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's like, Tarantino's a great quote. He's like, I didn't go to film school, I went to film. I think it was Tarantino who said that.
Yeah.
So he just went to he educated himself through a lifetime of just watching movies. And over time, if you live and breathe it, and he said this in interviews, he's like, if you live and breathe cinema and you know storytelling, then you have there's no other direction for you to go in than to make a great movie. Like you will make something that's genuinely great. People might not love it at first, but people, you will do something that people enjoy, right?
Yeah.
So, you need to know the components of what goes into that. I'm learning it too. Like I'm still like the shorts that I put out. It's like, I know that they're not perfect, but I think that they're at least entertaining. Like, I'm learning camera work and dialogue cutting and different stuff. Like it's all an exercise that I'm willing to put out for people to watch and pick it apart, do whatever the fuck you want to do. But,
absolutely. And like a lot of people often like at open mics will ask me like what kind of camera and stuff I have.
Yeah.
Like what are we using right now? My iPhone.
Well,
right?
people do that. That's like, there's filmmakers, there's pro filmmakers.
Yeah. So
that
like
have done it on.
If I like my one thing, if like just do it. Like if you have something you want to do, just do it. You don't need like these days most people have at least like even if you have like an iPhone 6, like the cameras are so good. Like if you want to do something like that, start a podcast, do comedy, whatever, like you have the means and you have kind of the internet that's available to you. So just keep doing it and you'll get better. So we've covered film, we've covered TV shows.
Yes.
Now let's get into hip hop.
Oh.
Which this is where my, not that I have an expertise in any of those things, but this is where my expertise really falls off. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I listen to, especially now, I'm in like a 90s, 2000s hip hop phase.
There you go.
But so what's your background in this? You were a rapper?
I was a rapper. I was in a group called the Riot Squad. Riot, RYIT.
Okay.
Because if there's one thing hip hop appreciates, it's not doing good grammar.
Yes.
Purposely.
Yeah.
No, that's sticking it to the man, dude. No, I was in Riot Squad. We were a Mississauga-based hip hop crew.
If I Google it?
Don't do it. It's like there's like actually there's nothing off Riot. We don't have any Riot Squad stuff. We don't have any.
Okay.
I don't think.
All right.
But you could probably go on Facebook and look at something. But there's no Riot. But oh god, I had so much fun with those guys. It was me, Kush McLeod. It was
Kush McLeod.
Kush McLeod was his name. Yes,
that can't be his actual name.
That was not his real name.
Okay.
No, it's he's a photographer now. The guy, but
cool.
I was good at awkward saying people's like actual names. Things, so I'll skip that. He might not want me, whatever. But and then there was Simply Put. He was everybody. We all had like characters. I had sort of like slick back hair.
Okay.
I had like I was wearing all denim, so I had a nice jean jacket. I was like slick, like it was almost like a G-Eazy type thing if you remember him.
What do you mean? If you remember him, he's still relevant, I would say.
I don't think he's still
G-Eazy?
G-Eazy, no. G-Eazy's not as big as he was.
No, not as big as he was.
Years ago. No,
I feel like he's still pretty. Like he's.
Some people do. How old are you?
24.
24. I'm 32. So okay, like he was like when I was 24. Like that was when like he was at his peak. I think. Yeah.
Really?
I think so.
I didn't know he was even around for that long. I thought he was like more of a modern guy.
G-Eazy hit. Well, I think he's modern, but I think that's still modern. But
when would you say it was like his pinnacle?
2014, 2015. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be. It might have been 2017. He had an album, but I was kind of emulating that type of thing.
Like I Mean
Cigarette
It?
in the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was his first, I think, actual like mainstream big giant album.
Yeah.
But I think it was called These Things Happen. These Things Happen, or whatever.
Exactly. You're right.
But I was doing something along the lines of that, and I just went by Alex Dewitt. I didn't have a rap name.
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of corny, a guy like me, suburban white kid, having a rap name. Like, what am I going to be? Yo, I'm going to be Young MC, Lil Devil, shit.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't work for me.
MC Matty P, yo.
So it made me even more peculiar, because I'm this kid. I'm not dressing with, like, I didn't even have the hat the way I do now, right?
Yeah.
I really wasn't usually in a hoodie. I was in kind of this weird outfit, and I was saying all kinds of wild shit and talking about, it was mainly parody stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, like I was trying to be ironic but like I was like more trying to like it was like more in the vein of like Eminem and a lot of like the hardcore
cool.
type
because he has
guys.
like skit raps, you know what I mean?
He did, yeah, but I was like saying like I was trying to like be provocative and I was trying, which like I do that with stand up only when I have to, like when I feel like okay the bit I'm not bending over backwards to say something fucking shocking like holy shit that guy said that, but I would. So I was doing that. I rapped from 19 till about just before I turned 24.
Okay.
I was writing at like 18 something, but I never really recorded anything, never performed, nothing like that. And then, and I've told this on stage, I don't know if you've heard the bit, but about me when I first started actually doing it. It was the summer of 2012, performing. I was turning 21. And I was looking for places, hey, like I got a couple demos recorded. I'm going to go see if I can perform this shit out and get my name out there. I was still doing stand-up at this time, but I was doing it, this is right before I joined the Riot Squad and like those guys. I knew them, but...
Okay.
And then, so I was trying to figure out like what venues to go to, but a bunch of them didn't want to do hip-hop because they're like, there were a couple big shows that summer that had like shootings outside of it.
Oh shit.
And a lot of the venues were like, we can't do these hip hop shows or even rock shows, a lot of them, until like this kind of, this dies down a little bit because it's like a liability basically. So a bunch of the rap promoters hit up all of these different restaurants, any place that would bite. It's like throwing shit on a wall, like just trying to figure out, okay, like where, what do we do? What sticks? So a bunch of these restaurants, and like I'm talking like bar and grill places, not even like show venue. They were like, hey, no, we'll do the rap shows.
Oh, really?
We'll do some of them. Yeah. So you had a bunch of promoters that would out in the suburbs. Like I'm talking like not just Mississauga, like Vaughan, places like that. I'm talking Ajax.
Oh shit.
I'm talking Oshawa. Some of the first rap shows I did, some of the first gigs I did were in Ajax.
That's hilarious.
At a place called Sergeant Pepper's. That's where I met Kyle Lucy because he was doing a comedy night there.
Wow.
Yeah, and sometimes they would do like a in the same night they would do hip hop first and then do comedy. Yeah. So I would do my raps and then be a guy doing stand up on the next show.
Wow.
So I met Kyle, like he was like 3 years younger than me. He was 19 he would have been 18. I was like 21. So we knew each other from there. And so I would rap at these places, and what was so hilarious was that it would be like legit. There would be guys like me, but then there would be guys, because no one else had a place to perform, you would have like guys who were like legit like thug gangster rappers.
Really?
On stage. Yeah, wow. Guys with their shirts off. You'd have like 8 at a time, all in ski masks.
Just imagine you and Kyle like chilling with those boys.
No, I don't think Kyle would have been there, but it was like all of those guys would just be on stage, like just rapping about the most obscene shit, and you'd have a family in the corner just eating jalapeno poppers, just like, what are we? Okay, like funny. Come on, like that's our aunt, so my aunt just died today. Can we we just wanted to have a quiet dinner.
That's hilarious.
Literally just with mozzarella cheese hanging out of their mouths, just like, what? And then the guy on stage is talking about pussy popping.
Yeah. He's like, R.I.P. my brother Tupac. Like,
yeah, it's just like a guy. Yeah, and like at the end of every song, there's like a machine gun sound. It was wild. But a lot of those guys were cool. Like they were fun guys. Yeah. I'll tell you a story about one guy that I met.
And do you want another one?
No, I got to drive, dude. I'm chilling with this one. I'm trying to nurse it.
Nurse that.
But no, I'm good with appreciate it. But so there was one night after a show, I rocked the stage. I rocked the stage. See, this is me getting back into hip hop mode. I rocked the stage, man. I fucking no one's iller than me. But I had a great show. I did I think 20 minutes. I don't know if I was like a feature act or if I closed the show. I don't think I headlined, but I probably was like the last act or something. And I get off stage. And this is in, I think, Ajax or Whitby. This is outside like one of these venues. Yeah. And I'm outside having a cigarette, and I make conversation with this guy taller than me, big, kind of like, almost like a skinhead type looking guy, like a white dude. And he's like, hey, man, he comes up to me like, hey, man, that was a great show, man. Like, you really rocked it. A lot of these guys, are kind of fake. Like, I like you because you're kind of authentic. You don't try to be anything. You just kind of are you. And I'm like, oh, okay, I appreciate that. I'm keeping cautious. He starts going into, because I had just gone to New York. Okay. I had a scholarship for a few months to the New York Conservatory of Dramatic Arts. Okay. And I had just gotten back a few months before. And I was living in like Brooklyn. I was doing all this stuff. So a lot of my music was about that.
Brooklyn.
And, like, a lot of the stuff that I was talking about, I was like, yo, man, I'm from... No, I wouldn't say I was from there, but I was fucking... So I'm making conversation with this guy, and he's like, so you just got back from New York? I'm like, yeah, man. And he's like, yeah, East Coast, man. I was on the West Coast. I was in L.A. I'm like, oh, shit, man. Where'd you live in L.A.? And he's like, well, I was in California. He's like, outside of L.A. And he's like, I did 2 years in Chino.
Oh, shit.
Chino is, so just for reference, if Chino is the place that Edward Norton went to prison in American History X.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was there with that. That is known as one of the toughest prisons. Probably, there's probably a world ranking. Chino is like, there are guys getting their fucking heads cut off in there and getting dicks cut, like just wild shit going on in that place, right? And, you know, not to mention that's just in the showers.
Yeah.
Not even to mention that. So this guy did time there. And I'm like, whoa, dude. I'm just, smoking my cigarette, just listening to him. And he's like, yeah, no, I had a family out there, and I ended up getting... He didn't tell me what it was for. I'm assuming it was probably for drugs or assault or something.
Yeah.
But he got a 2-year sentence, and I'm in there, and I'm fishing now for answers, because I see the way he looks. He's like this tall, skinny dude.
Yeah.
Like, skinny build. I'm like, so what gang were you in? Because California prison systems, it's all gangs, right? You have to be affiliated with something. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm listening, because I'm trying to fish for an answer of like, where's this guy from? And he goes, oh yeah, I was in a crew. So if you're in California, if you're in prison and you're a white guy, you have 2 options. If you're not a sex offender, you have 2 options, right? You can either join Aryan Brotherhood, which those guys are like neo-Nazi, like full-on fucking American History X, right? Which is what he joins in the movie. Yeah. Or if you're like me, and right there I was like, oh, thank God. He's like, he's not a Nazi. I'm like, he's not a Nazi.
He's not a Nazi.
Like, he's like, you got to join the Peckerwoods. And I'm like, I'd heard only about the Peckerwoods from the Steve Wilkos show. Yeah. Because every now and then there was just a dude who was like a Peckerwood, like just a guy who lived in a trailer. He's literally eating a bologna sandwich on stage, just getting a DNA test. And so I'm like, oh, I heard about it. He's like, yeah, the Peckerwoods are just like normal kind of hillbilly white dudes. Just redneck white guys. A lot of those guys are probably racist, but they're not connected Nazis, to... Yeah, you got to have like almost street referrals to get into. It's almost like a reference that you got to have like a resume from the street.
Pull up a resume.
So he ended up... He tells me a story. He's like, I was in the Peckerwoods, and like you had to like stay with your crew of guys at all times, and they protected you basically. Yeah. And I'm like, so what happened to you over the 2 years? And he's like, well, I ended up getting stabbed in the yard. I'm like, why? And he's like, because I was rapping, and a neo-Nazi guy didn't like that, and he ended up stabbing me. He showed me the wounds.
Oh shit! On the neck.
Yeah, on the neck. He got it like right close to the jugular. Ugh. Yeah. So I ended up not really associating with. He was, like I get it. You do your time, whatever. But
he's like, as far as Chino goes, he's like as good as it gets. He was like the prep boy of Chino.
Yeah, he was the Charlie Brown of Chino.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
fair.
No, yeah, also with a bald head. Yeah. Also a skinhead.
Yeah. Charlie Brown, conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Conspiracy to Charlie Brown.
Yeah, Charlie Brown, skinhead question mark. That's the fucking caption. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's sick, bro. That's like, that, I was going to say that's very different from the open mic world, but at the same time...
it is and it isn't. Yeah. Well, I met a few wild guys. There's a lot of... The thing about rap was in the hip hop, and fuck, dude, like I'm almost 10 years out of that. Like I stopped, I haven't been doing it longer than I was doing it at this point, right? So, I mean... There were some of those dudes, like the older guys who hadn't gotten deal. A lot of them had criminal, and in Canada, especially with the music industry, there's a ceiling, right? Yeah. And you felt the despair with a lot of those guys because they were getting older, and this community of people, as beautiful as it was a lot of the time, this is all they had, right? And it was white, black. It was guys from Northern Ontario, like white redneck dudes who love hunting, love talking about propane tanks and fishing boats and all kinds of shit. Yeah. It was those guys, and then it was, more urban, sort of, everybody from Toronto, and they all kind of joined together and made music and collaborated and did shows together, and that was their community. But there were some guys who were older who were like, there's a ceiling to this, and I'm aging out of this, right? And a lot of them had criminal records, so they couldn't cross the border. Yeah. So the opportunities were limited for some of them, and there were a lot of them who were fucking super talented. Yeah. But that's fair. And I was a young guy too, right? The suburban dude. I didn't start shit with anybody. I kind of survived that way. Yeah, because I wasn't looking. Good. I think
you can start shit with comics. That's not a big deal. They'll talk behind your back or whatever.
Yeah, or dox you or some shit. Yeah, you don't want to.
But you'll be physically safe. You know, you can like start over.
Yeah, like I miss that time period, and I was a good rapper too. Like I think I was like a genuinely people liked me.
I can see it.
No, people like again. I was part of that group, and we did shows just around the GTA. But I genuinely don't regret that time, and I think it informed me to some degree. Like it really
for sure.
I do approach as cringy and cheesy as this sounds. I do approach comedy the way I did with music.
Rap.
Yeah, with music, because you really just have to go around and sell yourself.
I've had a lot of musicians on the podcast, and like without fail, we always end up talking about the differences of, you know, comedy versus music. I've had producers, I've had performers, I've had singers, right? And we start talking about the differences, but then as the conversation progresses, we always find points of similarity, and we always end up baffled by how similar the two pursuits really are.
Yeah.
Like really, like every time it's always the same way.
There's a lot of, there's so many.
I start by bringing up the contrast because like I'm not from that world. I have no musical skill whatsoever, right. Even though I did make a rap song recently that I'm going to release soon.
You were mentioning something about a rap too. Yeah. Okay. I'm looking.
Well, that'll
B-Rabbit
we'll
number 2.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I keep forgetting I have a coffee sitting here. I'm
that's true.
Beer and coffee. I don't know how.
It's a great combo.
Oh, I performed at a strip club one time.
Oh yeah.
In the middle of a snowstorm.
Really?
This was by Sherway Gardens. Yeah.
Okay.
It's an old. I forget what the name of the strip club is, but it's now a hardware store, which is probably owned by the same crime family.
Yeah, that's true.
You know how they both. Well, they like
the garbage business.
The mob loves strippers, but they also love hammers.
That's true.
Right? So,
that's true.
You know, it does go hand in hand.
Give them some cement boots.
But I remember there was like a mini, like kind of little brawl. This was 2013, but there was a brawl leaving that place.
Okay.
Later at night, not with us, but I remember it was me, my buddy Max Ross, who's a comic.
I know him.
Max Ross, and it was a girl that I was dating at the time, and then another girl, like one of her girlfriends.
Okay.
And the four of us were just 4 suburban kids just going to this show, and I hear it's at a strip club.
Yeah.
And we're there for like, I think 4 or 5 hours, and we're kind of partying. I'm not driving, so I'm performing. I'm drinking. I go up and perform, and there's like a stripper. I turn around, there's a stripper twerking to my music behind. I'm like, dude, there's nothing better than this. Max Ross, I think, still has a
I saw him yesterday. I was at Backroom. He was there.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. It's so what's your favorite like era of rap, would you say? Because you came up in like you started 2012, like modern rap, you know, I would consider anything past like whatever 2020.
The 80s, with the exception of
80s,
some of no, hang on. So the 80s, I was about to say I never connected with it really.
All right.
The sound production wise, a lot of it has not aged well.
Okay.
Some of it has, and just from a historical standpoint, you probably enjoy it if you hear it. And a lot of it's fun.
Yeah.
But it never really hooked me in, with the exception of like NWA, Public Enemy, really the basic guys, right?
Okay.
Run DMC, that's pretty basic level. But the 90s, man, the 90s is what, like, probably my favorite in terms of, and then everything from the 90s, mid 90s in particular, through the 2000s. The 2000s had an era where hip hop is not great, close to the end, because they were experimenting with new production, digital sort of.
Right.
Some of those songs from my high school era, very few of them hold up.
True.
From 2005 to 09.
2005 to 09.
It was almost like some of that shit sounded like it came from Fruity Loops.
Right.
Some of the production, like it was just really bad production level. And then you know what, man? My late teens to early 20s, that era where Drake came out and J. Cole and Kendrick and Mac Miller was huge. Rest in peace. He was great. And Logic had his moment. And a lot of the A$AP Rocky, all those guys came out with bang. Like I love that era.
Okay.
That was a great era of hip hop.
Early 2010s.
Yeah, I'm nostalgic now for that music because of that time. And a lot of it sounds good, and it's aged pretty well over time. And like even some of like the trap shit, I like, you know, when Future came out and 2 Chainz, like some of those were like really great grimy street songs that you could just get drunk to. Yeah, you could just have like a Budweiser.
I agree with you. Like early Drake, for example, like his first, you know, couple albums, absolutely love them. But now, like when Drake comes on his new songs in the car, I just hit skip because like it.
It doesn't hit me. You're right.
I cringe a little bit. I get that vibe like of the the fuckboy just going like that, right? Like
he's gonna have an interesting era when he gets into his 40s. His 40s are gonna be interesting.
Yeah, because I think whatever he had, he still has it. And he's like the biggest right now, I would say, right?
You can make an argument that he's like in the top 10 most famous people in the world. Like he's
absolutely. Yeah, I would say top 5.
He and Taylor Swift and like a couple other people they don't.
Donald Trump, Taylor Swift, Drake, fucking Michael Jackson.
Might be an actor,
I don't know,
might be an actor or some, might be DiCaprio or somebody. There's a few people, man. I mean, Drake, but hang on, with Drake, he's one of those guys that never, of course, he has, his different stuff with the Raptors, and he has OVO, and he has all, his merch, and, he's obviously making money in other ventures, but he never got into movies, really. Mind you, he's still pretty young. He's not, I don't think he's even, I think he's like 37, he might be 37.
Yeah.
He still has a lot of time, but, he never got into movies. He never really ventured into just anything else, any other sort of facet of show business.
Well, he started as an actor, actually, which is interesting that he hasn't gotten into movies.
Exactly. Like, I feel like maybe he thinks that that's not his calling, and he has firsthand experience with it, and he's like, it's not from maybe in another. The thing I love about Eminem is all these other rappers who are shit actors who put out nothing but garbage content and movies. Yeah. They're terrible on TV. Awful act. Again, like, as much as I love 50 Cent, not a great actor. Ludacris, not a great actor. Ice Cube has had his moments where he's great. Eminem had a really understated, really good performance. Genuinely decent performance in 8 Mile. And he's like, that's it for me. Yeah. I'm not going to do it.
Dude, honestly, might be the way to go, because once you have like a success, like a lot of people have this qualm with a lot of shows where amazing, and then they reach their pinnacle and inevitably they start going down, right?
Right.
So maybe like quitting at the top is a play, like like a sitcom like Friends, right? Friends, a lot of people will shit on it.
Right.
I personally love it as like a nostalgic thing because my mom learned English watching Friends, so when I was growing up, it was always in the background.
Right.
So I have like a personal connection to it, but my girlfriend and I are watching it now, and like Matthew Perry just died, so like I was looking into like some stuff about like the history of Friends, and they purposely decided to stop when they were at their pinnacle because they decided like, listen, we don't want Friends to be a show that people look back at and say it was good until right.
But you know what, it's interesting you say that, because a lot of rappers, in terms of music, they don't know when to quit.
Right.
We were talking about Drake, his latest stuff being great, and I agree with you. Like, I think that a guy like Eminem and a guy like Drake, they could take literally a 5-year, maybe not, like, who the hell am I to say, but they could take a 5-year hiatus from music, and they could put something out years from now, and people would be like, hey, we got to check this out.
Yeah. Like, Eminem just released a song literally yesterday with Juice WRLD. I haven't heard from him in so long. Yeah. I listened to it. I'm like, it's pretty good. Nas is somebody that is like still constantly putting stuff out.
Which again, like, I haven't been crazy on his last few things.
Dude, I recently, like probably like a couple months ago, I was listening to some podcast, and they were talking about how consistent Nas has been with putting out albums.
Yes.
I listened to like one song from his most recent album. I might have just gotten lucky with the one I listened to.
Right.
And I did listen to it because 50 Cent is also on it. But like, banger. It's been one of my most like
50 Cent, yeah.
Nas and 50 Cent, his last album.
That's a big one, actually, because they used to not like each other. 50, like if you're from New York especially, 50 went at you.
Yeah.
He was the big bully for a time.
Office Hours. It might be called that. 5 months ago. Yeah, it's probably that.
Nas
featuring 50 Cent, Office Hours, really good.
I mean, there's a few. Nas is like in my top 5, but so is 50. Like, 50's not. I would argue he's an underrated lyricist. He's not the best ever, but I think he's certainly underrated. But he's one of those guys that I'd put him in my top 10.
Yeah,
of rap. Like, I enjoy listening to his music more than a lot of people, but in terms of rap, like, he's top 10 for me. And then
makes sense.
It's interesting that those guys collaborated, and I don't think have 50 and Jay-Z ever done. They've been on albums together with other people, but I don't know if they've done a song together.
Let me see. 50 Cent and Jay-Z. No, I don't see anything. I just see stuff about their rivalry.
Yeah, I don't think that they probably don't like each other, but I don't think that they're actively beefing. I mean, 50 Cent will not stop until Ja Rule is like on the Brooklyn Bridge, just ready to end. Like he just won't stop.
Ja Rule, bro, that's something I haven't.
He's still trolling him to this day. Like the same thing with Mayweather. Like anybody if you show a weak flaw, like some type of flaw around him, I think it's over for you. Like he will come at you.
And what do you think about another recent guy, Post Malone? What do you think about him?
Well, every second white guy who lives in Toronto looks like Post Malone now. True. Like I grew up in Mississauga where everyone is just now in their Post Malone era.
Yeah.
Everyone is just walking around with a gold tooth and their face is tattooed and they're playing a guitar in the middle of a Sobeys. Yeah. And you're just like, what drug are you on right now, sir?
Yeah. And they're just like, tell me congratulations, bitch, or I'll fuck you up.
Well, yeah, they all need participation trophies.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I do like his songs, though. I do like his...
You know what? No, I love Post Malone. Yeah. Yeah, I think he's great. But I wouldn't even, if you asked me favorite rapper right now, like I'd forget that he was a rapper.
Yeah.
Like he's classified as a rapper.
That's what I really like about him, actually, because I'm not, like I said, like hip hop, not my expertise. Yeah. When you like me, what kind of music I like, I just like music that sounds good to me. It could be rock, country, hip hop, whatever. Yeah. Post Malone likes to mix it up. Like there's songs of his that you can classify as like rap songs. Yeah. There are songs that are rock. There are songs that are country for sure. Apparently he wants to make a whole country album now. He's working on it.
Well, country's now the new thing, right? Pop country. That's supplanting hip hop, I think, is the number one. Yep. Supplant. I said supplant. Wow. Not everybody's saying that, it's not.
Okay. It's 1-1.
Guys like Post Malone, Drake, and even like Nelly kind of started it with the sing-songy kind of guy. They've formed a new category of musician, right? That is not a rapper, not quite a singer, not an R&B person.
Just an artist, bro.
No, but they're kind of a jack. I don't know what you would call it.
Yeah, jack of all trades.
But they rap, sing. But Post Malone, I don't think I've ever seen him straight up rap.
Yeah.
Like when has he had bars in a song? Like when has he done bars?
Yeah, even his first big song that went viral was like White Iverson, and that's more of like a song, like a poppy kind of what of a song.
He's got a bit of a flow in that, but he's singing, I think, throughout most of it. And then that first album that he did, Stoney, is genuinely I think a great album.
Very good.
He's
got Beer Bongs and Bentleys. Yeah,
Beer Bongs and Bentleys was real. Yeah, those I can almost listen to those two albums all the way through. And that's a sign of a great artist.
Yeah. So and then you were talking about country. Now there's guys like Jelly Roll. Have you ever heard of him?
Jelly Roll, yeah.
He's like a hip hoppy.
They
country
alternate
guy.
Throughout hip hop and country. Like Jelly Roll, you could see him and you're like, oh, that guy's a rapper.
Yeah, literally, yeah. He's a rapper, and he probably has a bunch of rappers in the trunk of his car.
Well, which kind of rappers?
Kit Kats, maybe some Snickers. But that's where I was going with that. Sorry. Yeah. But no, he's I like some of his. He's very new, so he doesn't have a very extensive discography or anything. But like what he's put out, I like that vibe. What's that guy? There's a song, I think it's called Truck Bed. Who's it by?
This is just it. I don't go through. It's so funny because almost a guilty pleasure of mine is a lot of that poppy country stuff. I'm just not as into it. I'm not into the genre. Like I'm not looking it up on Spotify every Friday for the new release. Like I'm not as into that. Right. If I hear something there's something that's happy and kind of celebratory about it that it kind of puts me in a good mood.
Yeah.
I think at this point, anything that makes you happy, that you just find some joy out of, don't be ashamed to indulge yourself.
I agree.
So if it's country music, if it's Morgan Wallen or Waylon or Whale or Moby Dick, whatever the hell his name is, just if he makes you...
Yeah, if he makes you feel something, if it keeps you off the fucking fentanyl.
If he makes you emotionally come. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what we need. There's physical come, but then there's emotional come.
Yeah, there's emotional
People don't talk about emotional come enough.
That's true. Emotionally coming is very important. I feel like I'm better at that than the physical coming when it comes to like inducing it in other people. But yeah. Physical coming, maybe it's one of those things like as you get older, you get better at, maybe not. But I feel like that's a good message to end on.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Make sure just whatever makes you emotionally come. Should we call that should we call this episode? I don't know if you have names for the episode.
Not really, but I will call this one emotionally coming. It's going to be in the Spotify.
Maybe put it at like an asterisk because it probably won't
emotionally
let you
come. Yeah,
won't let you do
That's
the
cool.
full word. But
what a beautiful message. Thanks for coming, Alex.
Absolutely, I appreciate you having me, dude.
Great
I'd love
convo.
to do it again. I genuinely had fun doing this.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. If you want to plug anything, go ahead.
Just Alex Dewitt Comedy on Instagram. We probably should have done this at the beginning. Alex Dewitt Comedy on Instagram. Right now, I got my podcast that I'm bringing back in the new year, Something's Off with Alex DeWitt. I have, on Instagram, just all kinds of videos and stuff. And I got a short film, Happy Place, that we just released this past April. If you want to check that out, it's on YouTube, directed by me and written by me and produced by my buddy Max Ross. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I got dates on my Instagram for comedy, and take it easy.
Take it easy. All right.
That was fun.